Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. It's been a minute since we've done a Call of Cthulhu video, so let's continue the Call of Cthulhu grimoire series, the spell series, where I was going through the spells out of the Keeper's book and reading them just as is. We had just finished all the contact deity spells in part 6. This will be part 7. We're starting with create barrier nachos-tith. There'll be create zombies in this one. There'll be some death spells, some dread curses. And I think I'm going to end this one before the enchantment spells, and the next one will be the enchantments. So you're looking at least 6 or 8 spells going over in this one. There'll be a part just on gate spells too that I'll do after the enchantment, because that's about 3 pages. And we got about half of the chapter left to go through, so you're looking at probably, if I break this down the way I have been, about 2 pages of video, about 6 videos, 6 parts left. So without further ado, let's actually start reading the spells. Create barrier nachos-tith. Cost variable magic points, 1d10 sanity points. Casting time is 1 minute. The barrier provides both a physical and magical defense. Each participant in this spell loses 1d10 sanity points and a variable number of magic points. Each magic point expended in the creation provides the barrier 3d10 points of strength. The spell takes 1 minute to cast, during which time all magic points to be used must be expended, and the resulting barrier lasts 1d4 plus 4 hours. Anyone who knows the spell may participate in the casting and contribute magic points to the barrier. The barrier is spherical in shape and about 100 yards in diameter. It can be cast around the caster to protect from harm, or it can be cast to encompass a monster or enemy. Any creature bisected by the barrier's boundary upon its creation is unharmed and thrust outside the barrier. Anything trapped should be allowed a strength roll opposed by the strength of the barrier. Multiple entrapped victims cannot combine their strength to escape. A bullet or missile can cross the barrier if the rolled damage ignore impels to the barrier is greater than 1/5 of the barrier's strength. If penetrating the barrier, the object does the damage rolled, as if the barrier did not exist, and the barrier is destroyed. A written copy of this spell is known to be in the Great Haunted Library on a planet orbiting the star Suleiman, one of the Pleiades. Alternative names: Great Ward of nachos-tith, the unseen sphere that entraps the demon. Deeper versions: those harnessing the knowledge and power of the mythos are able to increase the size of the barrier to 200 yards in diameter. So if you wanted to introduce this and then you wanted to give a deeper version that they can find, that's the suggestion, is it'd be twice as big. Create Mists of Arlay. Costs 2 magic points. Casting time is instantaneous. The spell causes a dense mist to appear in an egg-shaped volume, 10 foot by 10 foot by 15 foot, directly in front of the caster. The long axis of the cloud is always at right angles to the direction in which the caster faces. The spell obscures vision for 1d6 plus 4 game rounds and then evaporates without trace. Alternative names: Ye Terrible Cloud, Breath of the Dark Sea, the dank fog of sailors lost. Now we got the create zombie spell. Cost 16 magic points and 1d6 sanity points. Casting time is a week. A ritual liquid must be poured over a corpse or into the grave where the corpse lies. The keeper determines the ingredients of the liquid. At least one part should be difficult to obtain legally. The corpse is left to mature. At the end of a week, the caster comes to the grave and intones the binding ritual. At the end of the half-hour chant, the corpse claws its way from the grave and thereafter performs the caster's will. The zombie will perform mundane and simple tasks, such as guard this, fetch that, or kill them. A zombie created in this manner continues to rot after it has risen. Thus, a wizard wishing a constant zombie servant must periodically create replacements. Statistics for zombies can be found in Chapter 14, Monsters, Beasts, and Aliens. For a number of variations on the spell, see Spell Variations, page 242, which we've already went over in the previous parts like 1 and 2. Alternative names: Ritual of the Undying, Black Binding, the Ashen Cloud, the Ashen Cow, Raising of the Dead. Now we're on Curse of the Putrid Husk. Costs 5 magic points, 10 sanity points, 1 hour casting time. This spell brings sanity-racking illusions to the victim. The victim perceives that his or her skin is visibly rotting and corrupting. The outward appearance seems to deteriorate swiftly, so that great rents and tears occur through which internal organs begin to tumble out, with the victim losing 1d10 sanity points in the process. Thereupon, the victim faints and awakens in a few minutes, whole and normal. For the spell to take effect, an opposed intelligence roll must be made between the caster and the target. Impose 1 penalty die on the target if the spell is cast at night, while the target is sleeping. The entire cycle of effect takes about 20 minutes, including the faint. The target must be known to the caster, and the caster must have a focus some personal object belonging to the target. The experience of the spell is devastating. However, successful psychoanalysis can help the victim come to terms with these inexplicable dreams and hallucinations, and restore half of each such sanity loss. Psychiatric drugs do little to compensate for such an attack. Alternative names: the Insidious Nightmare. Summon 7 devils to afflict thine enemy. Wither the mind of the weak. Next is Death Spell. Costs 24 magic points and 3d10 sanity points. Casting time is 1d3 rounds. Reserved for only the most foul of sorcerers, this spell causes the bewildered victim to burst into flame. The target must be within 10 yards of the caster. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed POW roll with the target during each round of concentration. After 1d3 rounds of concentration, the victim's skin forms large blisters and he or she loses 1d3 hit points. In the next round, the victim loses an additional 1d6 hit points. On the third round, the victim bursts into flames, losing 1d10 hit points then and each round thereafter. The stench of burning hair and flesh is overwhelming. All that witness should make a sanity roll, or lose 1 if you make it, or 1d6 sanity roll if you fail. It is impossible to render aid, since the horrified victim burns from the inside out. Alternative names: Ye Dreadful Prickling, The Curse of Fiery Doom, Cthulhu's Embrace. Dominate is the next spell. Costs 1 magic point, 1 sanity point. Casting time's instantaneous. Bends the will of the target to that of the caster. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed POW roll with the target. If successful, the target obeys the commands of the caster without exception until the next combat round concludes. The spell can affect only 1 individual at a time and has a maximum range of 10 yards. Obviously, the command or commands must be intelligible to the target, and the spell may be broken if a command contradicts the target's basic nature, such as instructing a human to fly. Dominate can be cast and recast as many times as the caster finds possible. Allowing a target to be controlled without interruption for several minutes, each cast of the spell has the same cost and limits Recasting is instantaneous. Alternative names: Command of the Wizard, the Chant of Possession, Baleful Influence. The next spell is Dread Curse of Azathoth. Costs 4 magic points, 1d6 sanity points, casting time 1 round. The sorcerer draws upon the energies of the outer gods to directly drain POW from a victim. By repeating the secret name of Azathoth, one can generate respect and fear in any being conversant with the mythos. For to know the name implies that one knows the secret last syllable. Said alone, the last syllable may be directed against a foe. For the spell to take effect, the caster must succeed in an opposed POW roll with the target. If the caster is successful, the target loses 3d6 POW. Alternative names: Utterance of the last syllable, Ye doleful leeching, by the true name thy power is sapped. Dust of Suleiman. Costs 10 magic points per 3 doses. Casting time is 1 round to apply 1 dose. Creates a gray-green powder that harms unnatural beings from other planes of existence. The powder requires the dust from an Egyptian mummy at least 2,000 years old. Each such mummy suffices for 3 doses of the magic dust. The ingredients also include frankincense, sulfur, and saltpeter. An incantation must be said over the dust while it is being sprinkled. Sprinkled over a being not of this earth, the entity loses 1d20 hit points per dose. It takes 1 round to apply a dose. The powder works only on extraterrestrial and other planar beings. Thus, the powder would harm a dimensional shambler, Yog-Sothoth, or a Miko, but it's useless against a Shoggoth or a Deep One. Alternative names: the Egyptian powder, Protection of the Dead. Elder Sign. Costs 10 POW. Casting time 1 hour. Quick note about Elder Sign: it is found in a lot of pre-made adventures. If you're going to use it for your players, I would not make it as readily available unless it was the key to that adventure. Just because I always see it, and it's supposed to be great for fighting the mythos. So if you want the mythos to be challenging or still mysterious, I would make that less understood by the characters for a greater time frame until they learn it. This is a quote. Its decoration was rather in the rough shape of a star. In the center of the which there appeared to be a caricature of a single giant eye, but it was not an eye, rather a broken lozenge in shape with a certain line suggesting of flames, or perhaps a solitary pillar of flame. August Derleth and H.P. Lovecraft. The Lurker at the Threshold. The spell activates an Elder Sign. Each active Elder Sign takes a sacrifice of 10 POW to create, but costs no sanity points. An Elder Sign may be formed into a laden seal, carved in rock, forged in steel, etc. When made active beside an opening or gate, it makes the path unusable to minions of the great old ones and mythos gods, as well as those greater beings themselves. Without the spell, the symbol itself means nothing and has no effect. The writings of certain scribes apart, the Elder Sign is worthless in personal defense if the monster or minion can evade the sign. Those wearing an elder sign around the neck, for instance, might gain protection for a few square inches of flesh where the sign rests against the skin. However, the rest of the wearer's body would be completely vulnerable. Alternative names: the Elder Seal, the Omen Branch, the 5 Points of Wisdom. And with that, we are in front of the enchantment spells, and I just want to stop here. So the next video, we'll start with enchantment spells. If you enjoyed the reading of these spells, let me know in the comments below. And until we meet again, guys.